I had to take a break. I came back out here. I realized you're gonna have to install these libraries that he's included in here: the wire.h, E8G2 lib, SI5315, and easy button. And that's probably why I can't get this thing to work. So I've installed these and following along his video to the T. Okay, so according to him, we would close this and then we should hit verify. And he said it should compile the sketch, which I don't understand what that means. So once it compiles the sketch, let's see what it did. It said sketch uses 81% of storage program space. Maximum is 3729. Global variables use blah blah blah, leaving 726 bytes for local variables. Okay, so I guess that actually did work, and I just needed to calm down for a minute and think. The next thing he's talking about is the hexadecimal that you get when you scan your connected stuff, and then you have to like change it. And I don't understand that either, but he came up with some kind of hexadecimal, and then he went into Google and said, what's that hexadecimal times 2? And it said 0x78, whatever the hell. Anyway, that's for the address for the OLED. And there's some other stuff I don't really comprehend at this point, but I'm just kind of following along with that. I've got a lot of learning to do. If I can figure this out, I may just give up on it. It might just be like too much for me, but at least I did figure out what I was doing wrong just to even verify on here. So now that means that when I go look at the other ones, I didn't have to figure out what libraries need to be added, I guess. I didn't know that that had to be a thing, but there's one that I downloaded off of Caesar Sound, and it's all text, and I'm not sure, uh, without really like looking at these codes, like what it should look like. So I guess the first line doesn't matter. That looks like it's just got a slash edit. So you can basically type whatever you want in here, I guess. Now, is that going to display? This sketch is free software, and you can redistribute it and or modify it under the terms of GNU public license. It's published by Free Software Foundation. Okay. And then right here in the very beginning, it shows include these libraries. So I didn't know anything about that. And then this easy button thing, I don't know what the hell that does. Band up, band down. So I think what he's doing here doesn't require a VFO. I'm not sure. I can't remember. No encoder, or I'm not sure. We're just trying to see if we can even figure out how to program this. I can figure out how to hook all the wires and stuff up to it, but like programming it. So what does it say here? Let's see, long M display frequency, long float, bool. Well, I don't even know what half this crap is. Way over my head, man. This makes Linux line code almost look simple. Debounce time. Interesting. So, I'm just trying to read through this. I don't even know how far through we are. I'm gonna guess this is just a regular band thing. This isn't for CB, so yeah. Let me show you what he's got. A display, some other chip.
Okay, so that's uploaded, and I've got this preset to one of our local AM radio stations. The SDR is set to 60 megahertz because that's what I've set the IF to in the code. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through a little bit on the code, how to set the IF and the bands. But this video has got quite long. I didn't realise how much was going to be in this. So there'll be a follow-up video, and we'll get more into the code and more things you can do. But that's basically it. So you should be able to just tune that. Yeah. We can just tune to various stations.
What is that other chip?
I'm actually quite impressed with how well this thing performs. I do like this rotary encoder as well, so, you know. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the code. Okay, so if we are at the top here of the sketch, so if we just scroll down a little, you'll see these, I'll put these bars in here. Now, within here, this is the the user definable area, so you can actually go in here and change stuff. So, of course, at the top here, we've got our IF frequency, as you saw on the SDR, we had it set to 60 megahertz. So we just literally put in 60 megahertz here. You just literally put the number in. Now it's going to be in hertz. So, you know, it all has to be there. So it can be 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got, you know, the 6 knots. 60, so that's 60 megahertz. We've also got a second LO, which we can set. That isn't working at the moment, but it will in the next revision. We can go through that in the next video. And what have we got? So, yeah, we've got these bands here. Now, these are arrays. So what we're doing is, this is a long, this is an integer. We'll talk about this again later in the next videos, but that's an integer, and it just means it can take quite long numbers. And within this array, we've got these frequencies, again, all in hertz. So if we go along, you can see I've actually just put in there the amateur radio HF bands. Now, there's a thing, if you're actually tuning around, and once you set the frequency on one of these and then go to another band, and then come back, it will stay where you left it. Obviously, if you switch it off, it's cool. Around, so it's in volatile memory. But yeah, if you set it up and tune about wherever you left that band, when you come back to it, it'll still be there. But these are the frequencies, and I've got 15 bands. You can put more bands on, so this is maximum number of bands. That is another variable, and it sits in the body of this array. Now, that has to be in there for two reasons. One, we have to tell the program how many parts of this array there's going to be. So it's just simply so that the compiler, the IDE, when it goes along, it knows how much memory to allocate to this this array. So yeah, we've got 15 bands. So if you added another band on here, you've just got to follow the same syntax. So you just put a comma, and if you put 144, which is 2 meters, you'd have to change this to 16. Not 166. And we can do exactly the same here. Now this is a string. Now this is just displaying what we've got between these inverted commas. So we need to add another one here. So you have to add a comma.
Okay. 2
inverted commas, and we can just put 2M. So you can add bands. You can change these and name them to whatever you want. So, you know, it doesn't have to be amateur radio bands. It'll go with anything. So also as well, with the IF frequency, if you want the unit just to produce the frequency that you've got set on these bands, so if you wanted to produce, let's say here, 1476000 hertz, you just change this to 0. So instead of being 60 megs, you make it 0, and then whatever is on the display that's the frequency that will come out of the clock generator. Now we've got another thing here, up and down conversion. This is really interesting. So if you're going to feed this into a down conversion receiver or transceiver, you would need to make it just the 1. And if you want to make it into an up conversion transceiver, you make it -1. Now there's some caveats to this, because obviously you've got to remember the range of the clock generator. It'll only generate up to around, I think it's 200 megahertz. You can get a bit higher than that as well. I need to spend some time with it, but that's basically it. And there's I'll put another neat little thing in here, because if you build this and you turn your rotary encoder, and it counts down when you turn it clockwise and goes up when you're trying to turn it down, you can invert this. So you can just change this from true, from false, invert encoder direction, and just make that into true, and that will change the direction. You can do it with the wires, if you, the A and B wires that come from the encoder, you just swap them around. See that we can do it in the software here. It's very straightforward. And we've got another thing here, which is the calibration figure. Now, if you build this and you put this code in there, you're going to be off frequency, and you can't offset it. You can't fix it by just adjusting the frequencies you want to generate. It doesn't work like that. You've got to get the calibration figure and set the SI5351. This is the routine for doing it. I'm going to make a separate video. It won't be a long video, but there'll be a separate video following this video on how to do that. You will need a frequency counter, and it needs to be in reasonable calibration.
Okay.
What I'm using goes down to 1/100th of a hertz. So, but if you get down to 1/10 of a hertz, you're pretty much there. You're getting into the ballpark. But again, we can talk about that in the next video.
Wow.
But that's basically it. Yeah, you can play around with this, and if you go to compile it, I'm just going to hit compile here. We'll see if we've got any errors. Just if you make changes, just keep hitting compile, because if you've got a syntax error, it will tell you. You know, and as I said before, you can't upload if it's got a problem, you know, with the syntax, it won't upload. You know, you can upload code that doesn't work, it won't find that as long as the syntax is correct. But yeah. Okay, so look, if you've watched the video this long, I'd just like to say thanks for watching. I hope this is of interest and helps people, because you know. I know I've been asked by quite a number of people, you know, can we do this? And so here it is. If these videos, we could possibly make a channelized system. It's quite straightforward. But there's other things we can build on with this that can make it more interesting. And if, of course, if you've got any ideas, you know, leave it in the comments. Or if I've made any mistakes and you're having problems, leave it in the comments. And if you resolve the issue, leave that in the comments as well, because it'll help other people. So, yeah. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I mean, feel free to buy me a coffee. This video has taken me quite...
All right, guys. So, yeah, we just learned something there. So, I don't know what's in my software, but he's got something else inside of here, like his circuit. I don't know what that other chip does. He does have the VFO schematic here. We can go and see what this is. Let's blow this up. He's using a D-type flip-flop chip. I don't know why. What the reason is for that. U1. Where does that go into? Is that just simply for the frickin' encoder? It sure looks like it, doesn't it? Optical rotary encoder, and it's got a couple of things hooked to it, and it's going to this flip-flop. And the dir and the clock. Oh my goodness. This is interesting. So, I'm not sure that I would be able to use his sketch, because I don't know enough about what I'm doing right now to get it to work. But also can't find my breadboard right now either. So, we need a couple of switches. I don't know if I have any that I can put on the board. But band down, band up, tuning step, and speed. He's got a lot of really good stuff on here. The decoupling capacitors. So here's an OLED. Here is the SI5351. And on top of that, he's hooking up this 7-segment display. Don't know why. Well, I don't understand that. Let's see. 8-bit or 8-digit 7-segment display. I don't know. I've got little frequency counters like those, but so this is like super complicated compared to some of the other ones, but it's definitely cool. I like it. I might be able to figure it out. Or I might not be able to. Let's go back out of that and see, what did he have? The layout of the breadboard. I don't know why he's using this optical encoder like this. I'd like to avoid doing that. I don't want to use that extra chip. And then, Huh. This is all on AliExpress. Interesting. So, the one that I want to do is not his. I want to do the other one. So, but anyway, I think I have a better grasp of what's going on.